Hey, this is Tamatonga, Bullet Club original OG triple OG triple.
What's up? It's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you are listening to the Junkyard.
Welcome, everyone, to the most listened podcast on the Pro Wrestling Junkies Pod Squad Network. This is The Junkyard. I'm one of your hosts, Spencer Cantor, also known as Number 11. Join the Dark Order. Guys, welcome to episode 16 of The Junkyard. And please introduce yourselves to these fine people, Dennis, if they really just don't know who we are yet.
Oh, there's at this point in time, we're 16 episodes in, and if you don't know who we are, we're still going to tell you anyways. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time to come up from underneath whatever rock you've been living under and listen up and listen really good. My name is Dennis Day Jr., otherwise also known as DDJ, the host of What Do You Say with DDJ that drops every Monday at 12 a.m. Central Time as part of the Pro Wrestling Junkies Podcast Network.
Pop.
Well, I got to give the people what they want.
And what the people want, ladies and gentlemen, you already know by now, is I, Jovanni 2 Hotty, El Guapo 2 Hotty, here for your listening and viewing needs, wants, and pleasures.
My hole! I think that's the perfect transition, guys. You already know we're going to talk about that, but let's just get into it. Here's what happened this week in wrestling. Guys, I was so excited to talk about the My Hole thing. I didn't even bother to ask how you guys are doing. How you doing on this Saturday night when we're recording?
Better than Nia Jax's hole, that's for sure.
Guys, it is Valentine's Eve when we are recording this, and I can assure you we are probably doing better than Nia Jax's hole.
And ladies and gentlemen of the Junkyard, if you want to make sure your hole is looking good too, why don't you reach out to our unofficial official sponsor of the Junkyard? If you caught our live one, you might know this is coming, Manscaped. With their Lawnmower 3.0, make sure that you get the little light version so you can see when you're cutting my hole.
Oh, all right. Now that we've talked about my hole enough, and it's probably never going to be mentioned anywhere on this podcast anymore, let's get into Monday Night Raw. We had the Elimination Chamber, the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber decider. So it's going to be Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, The Miz, and Sheamus fighting for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship. So,
go ahead. Sorry, Spence. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you guys think Drew is going to retain, or do you think one of these challengers is going to take the belt off him and take his spot at Mania now?
The only person I can see taking this title off of him at this point in time would be Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to happen. But I do think maybe this might be the setup. We might get Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the title, maybe at Fastlane.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I anticipated this storyline happening or this match happening, I don't think it's ready for WrestleMania. So I could easily see something happening where it comes down to those two, and then Sheamus wants his one-on-one match that he thought he was going to get, and he probably will get it at Fastlane. So I see Drew retaining at Elimination Chamber. A little bit of sneak peek when we do our prediction show for Elimination Chamber next week.
Fellas, I really don't like this because Shane McMahon gets to come out and tell Drew McIntyre that he still has to prove himself, which is a load of bullcrap. I mean, he's been the flag bearer of this company, and to have to go in the chamber with these killers, I mean, all former champions in their own right, it's kind of ludicrous with Mania season there. With that being stated, I do think he retains. If McIntyre loses, the only person I want to see walk out with the title is Orton, so we can get Edge and Orton at Mania. That's a pipe dream, but I think Drew gets to walk out with the title.
All right, and I could definitely see them putting this title on Randy Orton, and then Edge decides he wants to face Randy Orton, and then they have Edge beat Randy Orton at Mania. I could 100% see that, but I'm going to go with you. I think Drew is going to retain the title and move on to Mania, and maybe face Edge. Maybe not. We'll see, because I think he's going to make his decision after the events of Elimination Chamber, because they still got another one going on SmackDown, and you're talking about Shane McMahon putting Drew in a corner. He basically, on the other side, they're just like, hey, have all these people fight in the Chamber preview when we talk SmackDown here in a minute, and Roman basically gets the night off. He's like, here, just face this person that's going through the Chamber. We'll get into that more when we get to SmackDown. So also on Raw, we had the New Day versus Retribution, a faction who I think we've actually turned the corner on and are in support of now. Whoa,
hold your break. I've softened my stance on Retribution, but I'm not in their corner yet because I need to see more.
Okay,
there you go.
I need to see more. I just I can't just have wham bam, thank you, ma'am. 1 week and then we're back to normal and stuff. So.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, DJ, because, I mean, this match with the New Day, while it was a good match, it wasn't because of the Retribution members in the ring. Ali made this match for me.
Yep.
For me to start taking them more seriously, I need to see these guys start getting wins. I mean, they can't keep taking these losses, even though it's against New Day, and New Day is super over. They're going to get the W. I need to see Retribution start winning. Added with Ali's mouth, they could be something big.
Agreed.
All right. So not fully turn the corner on Retribution, but we're slowly working there. So just, you got to give us more WWE, give Ollie some more promo time, let them start getting some wins, and maybe people will actually start liking Retribution like they did, the Dark Order, because, everybody said, oh yeah, Retribution, they're the Wish version of the Dark Order, which is still true, but hopefully they'll eventually get to those levels. I mean, honestly, who are we kidding? They'll never reach those levels. Dark Order is the greatest faction of all time. Next, move on. All right.
Hey,
So
Spencer, since you threw a Dark Order reference out there, you'll like this. So, little peek behind the curtain. I went before recording. I took my wife and my son out for dinner tonight for Valentine's Day and stuff. And as I was walking out of the restaurant, I saw somebody wearing a Dark Order beanie.
Yes,
nice.
We're taking over.
Yes, I thought you'd like that. So.
I very much like that. Thank you, DDJ.
You're
and
welcome. Please.
That's right. So the next match we're going to talk about here on the Junkyard is Lacey Evans versus Charlotte. Lacey defeats Charlotte by DQ after Charlotte's going in the corner, putting on punches, and she gets the DQ win. Lacey does. So it's going to be Lacey Evans versus Asuka at the Elimination Chamber. And we kind of find out that the relationship between Ric Flair and Lacey Evans is not sexual. It's more like a business relationship. And, Rick wants to train Lacey. So kind of what are your thoughts on that match, guys? And does Lacey Evans even have a chance to beat Asuka at the Elimination Chamber?
I think she does. Because if you really want, because right now Lacey is finally getting that push that she's been long overdue for, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
She's got what it takes to be, well, technically it's near the top of the women's division, or even at the top of the women's division, either as a face or a heel. I think she's one of those ones, because if they went into her, military past, she'd be a huge bona fide babyface star. But I like what they're doing with this, and I think she deserves it. I think she's ready for this spot. I think you put the title on her. This feud is still going strong with Lacey and Charlotte. And I mean, this match here, I could easily see this match being on WrestleMania, because I think that's where we would get the big payoff. So yes, I definitely think Lacey has a chance at Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
I'm not going to disagree with you there, DDJ. I think this is building up to have this big blow-off match between the two. And Lacey taking the belt over Asuka, probably with Rick's help, is going to end up being what's going to happen. We get to the big feud ending match is going to be at Mania. You're probably going to have Lacey and Rick coming out with matching robes against Charlotte in her robe. And it's going to be a grand spectacle, and it's going to be exactly what Vince loves. And I don't believe the Nature Boy Ric Flair when he said he's just trying to train the future women's wrestling, and he's just trying to get another apprentice for himself. I think what they say about Space Mountain is still valid for the old Nate.
Oldest ride, longest line.
And gentlemen of the Junkyard, when you want to make sure that you can also be the oldest ride with the longest line, make sure you use the unofficial official sponsor of the Junkyard, Blue Chew. Blue Chew, when you just have to woo it.
Oh, woo it and do it.
Woo it and do it.
All right.
And woo.
What?
Netflix and woo.
Netflix and woo. Oh, we got a million of those, but we got to keep going here. Next up, guys, what's Bad Bunny doing on Raw besides selling a shit ton of T-shirts?
DJ, I'm taking this.
Go take it, my man.
I will kill him real quick so you can try to bring it back and tell people why they should care about it, but I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't. Bad Bunny is selling all these damn T-shirts in the WWE shop because he's representing a part of the fan base that isn't represented a lot, which is the same reason why all the Caribbean people love when Carlito came back and he looked jacked because, hey, representation, we're there. Yes. Yeah. It's not just the Lucha House Party and guys in masks and everything, which, by the way, what's his name? The one with Grand Metalik is Puerto Rican, but they put him in a Lucha mask and people don't know that, or they're not educated on the fact that he's just Lucha House Party. But when you get, Grammy winner and Latin artist extraordinaire Bad Bunny coming out there, people know who Bad Bunny is, and you get that section of the market and they're dying to have some kind of representation, like, hey, this is us, they're going to hold on to it and they're going to cling to it and they're going to buy the shirts and they're going to probably watch this match that's going to happen at WrestleMania, but it's going to be crap because Bad Bunny's not a wrestler and everything he's done so far looks very stiff, and why they're putting him with Punishment Martinez or Damian Priest is blowing my mind because Priest has a future while Bad Bunny is maybe just a flavor of the week because we have to do something to counter AEW with Shaq. So we're going to bring Bad Bunny. This really is the vein of my existence with WWE right now. I'm just done with it. DDJ, take it away.
So, like I said, I'll admit, I had no idea who this Bad Bunny guy was when he was announced. I still really don't understand that, but I guess he's really big in the, big in the music scene, especially like the Puerto Rican, like Jovanni said and stuff. But I mean, he apparently is, like I said, pulling in big numbers for when it comes to WWE merch, which is really unheard of, for a celebrity to be, at the top of the charts when it comes to, merch. I mean, I don't think we've ever had anyone that, celebrity-wise that's been able to do the kind of numbers with merch that, Bad Bunny has and stuff. And obviously, like Spencer was motioning, if you're watching this on YouTube, or and for those of you listening to this on audio, he's doing the, the money thing.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Dollar. But no, I like I said, I'm not 100% like on board with this. I get why they're doing it. It's all about, like Jovanni said, representation. Yes, Jovanni.
Hot tag.
Hot tag you in real quick.
Hot tag real quick in the middle of this, just because I need to know, you guys, what celebrity have the WWE had recently that not only had its own merch, had their own merch, but was at almost the peak of their popularity while they were doing this? Because Bad Bunny's everywhere right now with his advertising, his music. He's on commercials. His Cheeto commercial sucks ass. His whatever commercials he on the Corona commercials, I hate them. Like, he's in the peak of his popularity right now, and they gave him a shirt. What other celebrity have they had that's been in that exact time frame where they were still relevant and they actually got merch?
The only other person, like celebrity-wise, that I can think of recently that got merch, but this is obviously, he's well past his peak, was Snoop Dogg. Because I believe he did a couple collabs with The Undertaker and shirts.
And they pulled him as soon as he did the stuff with AEW.
Right, yeah.
Which was almost 2 or 3 weeks after.
That's just them being petty, though.
Yep. Their excuse was it was like a limited run, but yeah, we know the real reason.
But no, I mean, And he still, so kind of going back to my thing though, I get why they're doing it because I mean, Damian Priest is, someone that obviously the hardcore NXT fan knows, and those that have been following, watch, everything, know him from his time of Ring of Honor and stuff. And I mean, you bring him in and, you throw him in with, two very talented guys like The Miz and Morrison, which as much as I like those two guys, they need to split that team up. That's another story and stuff. But I mean, to me, what this is going to, whether or not Damian Priest, really takes off after this program concludes, I really hope he does because he's got a lot of talent and stuff. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I hate it. 100% hate it because Damian Priest is a rocker and Bad Bunny does the equivalent of Spanish rap. It makes no sense to me on that point either. But I'm done. I'm finished. Sorry, Spencer. I'm done.
Yeah, we took like 10 minutes to talk about Bad Bunny.
Taking up more time on the Junkyard than he should have. We'll cut all of it.
No, it's staying. All right, let's talk about this next match. That is going to be happening at Elimination Chamber. So we're going to get Keith Lee versus Riddle. Almost said Matt Riddle. Can't say that. Versus Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship at Elimination Chamber. I do believe it was Keith Lee versus Riddle on Raw, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And then Keith Lee won, but then Bobby Lashley came out and wrecked him. And basically, I saw a clip of this online. He picked him up and like powerbombed him or urinaged him in the middle of the ring. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm excited for this match.
I'm going to tell you what, like I said, booking wise, okay, so Keith Lee beats Riddle clean in the ring. Yet Riddle finds himself with in this triple threat match now for the U.S. title. And me, that does not make sense. But what I hope this really leads to, I want to see Keith Lee versus Lashley at WrestleMania. And I hope that's what we end up getting as a result of this. This sets up Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley at Mania because, ooh, buddy, you better strap yourself in for that one because that is going to be a fight.
Hell yeah, brother. I can't be more with you here. Riddle kind of seems like the odd man out, but this kind of gives you someone to have to take this fall in this match or to take this tap out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Lashley and Lee at Mania, that's the money maker. Because as soon as Lashley picked Keith Lee up, and Keith Lee is a big boy, and he slammed him, I was all in for that match.
Yeah, that's right. It's also kind of a shame just to see what they're kind of doing with Riddle. Like he was coming up as this big hot prospect from NXT. He got a good push for a while, but now he's kind of being in this title feud, kind of basically in the middle of it for no reason, and probably is going to take the pin at the Chamber. Do you got? And I think it was just revealed that he had signed a new contract, so he'll be with the WWE for a few more years. Can they save Matt Riddle? Is it too late? What are your thoughts on just Riddle in general before we move on?
I think he can be saved, but it's going to take a Hail Mary to do so because I've said it once and I'll say it again. They've turned Matt Riddle into the Jeff Spicoli of the WWE. And for those of you are youngins that are listening to this, if you don't know who Jeff Spicoli is, go watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High because if you see Sean Penn's character in that movie, that is the epitome of what Matt Riddle is in WWE. And they need to get away from the Jeff. I love Jeff Spicoli. He's a great movie character, one of the great classics from the 1980s. But man, it's not working for Riddle in the WWE.
I agree 110%. And all of the youngins, as DDJ put it over there in the Junkyard, if y'all go watch that movie, you'll be a lot cooler since you did. But for me, Matt Riddle, with the over just broness, and there's no other way I can really put it, the broness is killing his badassery.
Mm-hmm.
We are forgetting more and more each week, and the foot stop didn't help, that Matt Riddle is a legit badass who fought in a cage, who can whoop ass in real life.
Yeah.
Because they've turned him into bro. So for me, the way you save Riddle is we need an injury. He needs to go away for a while. We need a repackage, and I need to see, give me Akeem the Ultimate Dream. No, I'm just joking. Give me the fighting machine. I need to have him come back as the Ultimate Fighting Machine to have him saved.
Yeah, I think you guys talked about this perfectly. We need more Fight Pit Matt Riddle than we need Bro Nuts Matt Riddle.
Yes.
Yep.
Like that's basically, I think, and we're all in agreement on that. Okay, all right. So the last thing we're going to talk about here on Monday Night Raw before we move on to SmackDown is the tables match between Nia Jax and Lana. So the big thing coming out from this match is the one spot where Nia lands on the apron and she just gets up screaming. And then, of course, you hear the infamous and what she will probably be remembered for a very long time, "My hole." All right, before we even talk about the match and get into the ending, where actually Lana did win and put Nia through a table, guys, why are people so fascinated with "My hole"?
I don't know why anybody would be fascinated with your hole, Spencer. But anyways, no, I don't think it's that we're fascinated with her hole. It's not so much that it happened, it's how she reacted to it is what's ever got everybody talking.
Yeah.
Because, man, it's just the way she said it, the way it came across and stuff. That's what got everybody. It's kind of the old classic case of it's not what she said, but how she said it. And, yeah, I think that's what it is. If she had, the spot had happened and she didn't scream it out like she did, maybe if she mouthed it, but if there wasn't the audio that was like clearly you could hear it, like it was it was distinct, you could hear it and make it out, we wouldn't be having this talk right now. But it's because of how she said it and the way it came off across on TV and on audio. That's why everybody's still talking about this. If I'm not mistaken, I believe a company that makes bidets reached out to her to try to get sponsorship. I'm dead serious about that. I'm sure that circulated the news. And also, too, I heard the old band. I heard the band. I've heard the band Hole is getting back together to do a cover of this.
God Almighty!
All right, I'm done.
I'm no doctor, gentlemen, and I don't claim to know the human body. I'm no biologist by any means, but anatomically speaking, her leg hit the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring. How close to her hole could she have gotten is what I'm trying to get. To have that reaction of "my hole," like I don't know, but I think DDJ is dead on it, man. Just the way she over enthusiastically shouted about her hole is hilarious.
Over enthusiastically, it makes it sound like she was excited.
I don't know what she was. It could have been either or.
Honestly, give a shout out to Nia Jax. This was, a terrible situation. She made the best of it. She even went on Twitter the day after and she said, "I've been receiving a whole lot of love. Much obliged. #myhole." So she's being a good sport about this. And I mean, there's been countless times like we were talking about this earlier, like Bully Ray, he said "my balls," and now we have Nia Jax with "my hole." So it'll be in a lot of videos to come in the future for sure.
She knew what she said. That's why she's cool with it.
Yeah.
And, it's always funny how these accidents or whatever you want to call them, these unplanned events always kind of seem to like lead to something because, I mean, think about it. When Nia Jax punched Becky Lynch's face in a couple years ago before Survivor Series, look what that did for Becky Lynch.
Yep.
This thing right here could really take Nia Jax to the next level because just think about it. If WWE marketing right now, they are working on a T-shirt. It's going to come out. And if they do come out with this shirt, I'm telling you right now, it is going to be a top seller.
So you're telling me that my hole could be like Dr. Britt Baker's broken nose and make Nia Jax big time?
Yes, my hole could be that.
Okay, I'm down.
All right, we'll see about that. Also, another thing that possibly came from this match after Lana winning, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are your women's tag team champions. If for whatever reason you forgot, and it'd be very easy if you did. But it looks like Naomi and Lana possibly could be future challengers for those titles.
Real quick,
yeah.
Do you think if Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler go into WrestleMania as the tag team champions, do you think they'll get Soundgarden to come play Black Hole Sun live?
No, they'll have the Disney archives open up so the Seven Dwarfs could sing "My Home."
It's the only thing they should come out to.
Oh man. But no, real quick though, I've been calling for this for months. And while it didn't come off the way that I hoped it would, it was nice to see Lana finally get her comeuppance and finally get Nia Jax and put her through a table to make up for all those weeks of just constantly going through the table. So bravo, Lana, bravo.
It's not going anywhere.
Come on, we know it's not going anywhere. She got her one victory, and well, it's the old added stipulation, like you go through a table, you lose, but it's just like, oh, she just got pushed through a table.
Here's another T-shirt idea. Lana 316 says, "I just broke Nia's hole."
All right, let's move on. Before we talk about any more of my whole references, because I'm kind of over it now, let's get into SmackDown.
Holy cow!
Holy cow, indeed. So the Elimination Chamber for SmackDown will not be for the Universal Championship. It will. Yes, it's going to be. I'm not even getting a response to that one. It's going to be a 6-way in the Elimination Chamber, where the winner of that match will face Roman Reigns probably at the end of the night for the Universal title. So it was Sami Zayn, King Corbin, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and Jey Uso. That happened through a series of tag team matches. Sami Zayn, King Corbin won over in there, so they went in the chamber. Then Daniel Bryan and Cesaro won, and then Kevin Owens and Jey Uso. Then they all got in the chamber. Okay, guys, right now, who do you think is going to come out of the chamber? And is there any way Roman loses this title?
No, I don't expect Roman to lose this title. I think whoever comes out of this chamber match, is gonna have a good showing against Roman. And as much as I want to see one more match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, I don't think it's going to be Kevin Owens coming out of the chamber.
All right.
I honestly, I'm going to pick the man that I picked to win the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be Daniel Bryan coming out of the chamber to get that title match against Roman Reigns.
Man, you're going Daniel Bryan big time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I fully expect we're going to get one more KO versus Roman match, but I don't think it's going to be at the chamber. I think we're going to get a little swerve, and I'm going to say right now, and I'll stick to it when we do our prediction show. I think it's going to be Daniel Bryan coming out of the chamber, and he's going to give Roman a good fight, but he's going to come up just a little bit short.
So this is my issue with this, man, and the whole Elimination Chamber on SmackDown, and with Roman not having there. See there?
Yeah, I did.
But Roman not coming out and defending just like Drew, and I guess they're trying to make him look like an asshole or like he's too good to be in the chamber, but it really just makes him look a bit weaker in my eyes.
Like you said in the note, he's a bitch.
He's a bitch. It makes Roman look like a bitch. I hate that we keep making Roman look like a bitch, but that plays into my winner. In my mind, the best matchup right now is Jey Uso. And I can see Jey Uso winning and Roman demanding that he lays down. And I don't see Jey doing it, which could lead to a big match at WrestleMania to kind of reset everything. We still have some time to build everything. So the build for Mania really does start now. I think that'll be a good way to kind of kick it if they do decide to take that route.
That's an interesting take.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's what we like here on the Junkyard, getting hot takes, interesting takes. You might not hear anywhere else, especially from our own Jovanni too Hotty.
I wholeheartedly appreciate that take. See what I did there?
All right. So I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens. I think he's gonna find a way to win. We're gonna get KO versus Roman. I really do like your theory that you had Jovan, but I think if Jey Uso does win, I think he lays down for Roman because he's forced to. But then there's a point after the Elimination Chamber that he probably gets fed up with Roman and then goes after him. So I could see that happening, but a slight variation of that. Definitely would like to see that for Mania because I don't think nobody really wants to see Roman versus Edge, spear versus spear. Bring Goldberg back, have a triple threat spear match. Nobody wants that.
No, I don't want Goldberg anywhere near WrestleMania.
No.
Hell, sign Rhino for one night. Have a spear gore match.
No, only in a WWE game should that happen. All right. Next up. So Big E is the Intercontinental Champion right now, and Apollo has been, going after that title along with Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn is kind of going to be tied up with the Universal Elimination Chamber match right now. So what's going on with these two right now? Does Apollo even have a chance to even have a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, or is Big E probably going to hold on to that thing till WrestleMania?
Well, if I remember correctly, SmackDown Big E is trying to get new challengers, and he did sort of an open challenge, and Apollo Crews tried to come out there and was like, hey, it's me. And who answered the call for the challenge after he dismissed him? I think it was
Nakamura.
Nakamura was Shinsuke. So Shinsuke went out there. Of course, I think Big E either won quickly or disqualification. I can't remember how that match ended.
I think it was a DQ finish.
There you go. It was a DQ finish there because Apollo got in, and it seems like they're still possibly building into this Big E versus Apollo match, which to me, it doesn't need to happen. Apollo, I mean, is he doing something with Roman that they still need to make him look relevant? I'm still team repackage. He needs to get out of there, and they need to do something with him.
I agree with that. I mean, I definitely think it's kind of one of those. It's kind of like, again, a situation where he's already been dispatched, but he's like, pick me. I want to, and it's like, okay, you've already had your chance and you blew it, and it's like, now he's like, Big E's trying to give, other people an opportunity to step up to the plate. Apollo's trying to be the one is like, I want to, step up to the plate. He's already had his chance. He's already been to the plate. He struck out multiple times. It's time for some, new blood to come in. You saw Nakamura, who could we see possibly next week or something? Apollo's definitely going to make an attempt, but again, he's going to get dismissed. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's just Apollo's going to be like just continually going to get ignored, and then it's going to get to a point where he's just going to snap and go. Just basically, he's going to do something that's going to make Big E be like, "All right, you know what? You've got my attention. Now it's on."
Yep.
Desperate men do desperate things.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Team turn Apollo Crews heel, please.
Yes.
I think that should
Something.
happen. Yeah, seriously. He's just like a wet paper bag. No one cares. All right. So last thing on SmackDown, and then you guys can talk about anything else you want to. We had a return. We had the return of the Friday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. He is back on SmackDown, but coming back with a little bit of change. The Burn It Down theme is back, baby.
Yeah, it's basically, and I don't know if this just because the music, which I mean, I didn't hate his music that he was his Messiah music, but I didn't love it. I definitely like Burn It Down better, but it's just, it doesn't seem like that music fits with this character and stuff. Like, I was really, when I heard the music, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they are going back to, Burn It Down or something like that. Then he started talking, and basically cut the whole spiel as like, I'm your leader. I'm going to take this show to greater heights. And I thought it was kind of funny to see like everybody walk away. And then all of a sudden, Cesaro standing is like, wait a minute, maybe Cesaro is going to, step up and maybe be, Rollins' new disciple. But no, that didn't happen. And that did not sit well with Seth. He went ballistic and just beat the crap out of Cesaro. So it looks like we're going to get Rollins versus Cesaro. And you know what? Sign me up for that, because I think that is going to be a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my swerve of the night. Nobody cares about Seth Rollins coming back. The return was very uneventful. The music coming back was cool. It kind of made everybody think that, yes, this is going to be a new Rollins. This Messiah character has to go. I'm done with it. They killed the Messiah when they had the whole Mysterio family storyline. That's garbage.
Eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye. Aaliyah and freaking whatever the hell his name was, I can't even think of. Murphy. Where's he been? I guess him and Aaliyah really rode off into the sunset. But I'm over Seth Rollins being the Messiah. I need the real burn it down Seth Rollins. I see my hot take being Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Seth Rollins is going to get himself into an Elimination Chamber match. Don't see him going against Roman yet, but we will start to get some seeds of that soon.
All right. So kind of if Seth was to, get into the Elimination Chamber and then, eventually face Roman, it's in the past been, heel Seth Rollins versus, face Roman. Could we get a shift in that and go face Rollins versus heel Roman?
I think you almost have to for this match to happen.
Yes. Make face Rollins, burn it down Rollins, then he's worthy of taking on heel Roman.
All right. A reversal of roles. I think that could definitely be interesting. Anything else you guys want to talk about on SmackDown, or are you ready to get into a little bit of Impact?
Let's make an impact.
See what you did there.
That's right. That was a good transition. All right. So, Jovan, we're going to leave the floor over to you. No Surrender was tonight. Neither of us have had a chance to watch it. So give us a rundown of how that was and maybe Impact this week.
All right, everybody. I'm going to leave out Impact for the past week because No Surrender, which happened the night that we're recording on Saturday, is all you need to know because it wrapped up most of the storylines, continued some storylines. So let's get into it. Big news coming out of No Surrender. Rohit Raju is not your X Division champion.
Oh,
TJP beat him in the match. It was a darn good match. Rohit just was a step behind. TJP went over strong. I lead with that match because there was a match on No Surrender called the Revolver match. It was a triple threat match where contestants came in and out. The wrestlers came in and out. So you get pinned, you go out, someone else comes in, and they revolved around until they were down to the final 3 men. And then it was a triple threat for the right to be the number one contender to TJP's championship. This match was a barn burner. Amazing showing by Trey Miguel, who started out number 1 and lasted throughout the whole match, down to the final 3. Amazing showing by Chris Bay. This match, if you guys go out of your way to watch anything from last week, I might say this might be what you need to watch. If you have Impact Plus, do yourself a favor, watch this Revolver match. It's the X Division at its finest. But the final triple threat came down to Ace Austin, who was the last entrant, Trey Miguel, who was the first entrant, and the one and only Mr. Wrestling Headgear himself.
The walking weapon.
The walking weapon, Mr. Alexander. Dude. The finish to this match, phenomenal. I will say that. It was phenomenal. So, Mr. Alexander, I know I've given you some bull crap before about your headset, your headgear that you wear. It looks kind of weird, but the way he performed, he is your new number 1 contender. Awesome, phenomenal match, guys. Watch it. That's all I can say is watch it.
All right.
Definitely going to go check that out here. One of my biggest fears about Josh Alexander was when he had the split with Ethan Page, that he was going to get lost in the shuffle. But I mean, so it's nice to see that he seems to, have rebounded pretty nicely from, the split with Ethan Page and obviously, the subsequent departure of Ethan Page from Impact Wrestling. And
Ethan Page is dead.
Yeah. Long live the Karate Man.
That's right.
And that's so, but I mean, no, I'm, good for Josh. Glad to see that Impact sees that, the value with him and Josh Alexander versus TJP, I'm in.
So when Josh Alexander came out to the ring, they put him over big time in commentary. And I really have to give it to Stryker and D'Lo Brown, even though I'm not 100% sold on D'Lo as much as I am with Matt Stryker, who is amazing at what he does.
Absolutely.
But they put Josh Alexander over something fierce and kind of made it feel big when he came out. So when he won, you're like, oh, wow. You know, it added to that moment. And they did a lot of things throughout the night on the commentary that really sold this show. Like the first match was the Decay with Black Taurus from AAA versus Tennille Dashwood and Triple XL. The commentary alone saved this match because it had a little bit of botches, but they were able to cover the botches a little bit with the commentary. It was a good match. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to finish up, and then I'll ask my question.
Yeah, it was a good match. I wouldn't necessarily say to go out of your way to watch it. It was a show starter, but it was a little sloppy. If I remember the ending correctly, Triple XL got the win. So, like I said,
they won.
Was it the Decay? Oh, no. So, that's what happened. This is what happened led to the ending. Triple XL, one of the guys, I think it may have been AC, powerbomb to Neil on somebody else, which caused a distraction for Black Taurus to do a big freaking whatever the hell he does. Mm-hmm. And that ended up at the win. And they're thinking that, I hope it's kayfabe, but they said that it looked like Tennille hurt her arm on the body-to-body powerbomb thing. So hopefully she's okay. But that's what led to the ending.
Okay.
So you brought up a good point. I just kind of want to get both your thoughts on this. So Jovan was saying the commentary team, saved this match, and they had some great calls. And we know Matt Stryker has been doing this for a while and has been killing it, like he did on Lucha Underground. He had a stint on WWE, and then now he's on Impact. And one of our virtual markout guests in the past, Vampiro, put him over big time. Yep. And then D'Lo Brown, not doing this as long, but still, doing a good job. Is this switch in commentary ever since the last pay-per-view? Has this been a good change for Impact from the team of Madison? Yes. Yeah. Has this been a good switch and maybe made Impact, not just the storylines, but the commentary, because that was a big complaint from a lot of people. Has this switch made it more watchable?
As much, I don't hate that. I didn't hate the team of Josh Matthews and Madison Rain as much as a lot of people did. But yeah, this commentary duo of D'Lo Brown and Matt Stryker is a huge upgrade.
Yes, definitely agree.
Okay,
and Matt Stryker's just a beast. That's there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He puts so much excitement into it, and he's actually really next level job.
Okay, go back to No Surrender. What else happened?
All right, we're going to finish No Surrender strong with the top two matches on the card. The triple threat match for the Tag Team Impact Championships. Of course, we all know the Good Brothers came out. They were going against Sabin and Sorry About Your Damn Luck, Cowboy James Storm. And the AEW Tag Team Hardy Party.
Yeah, buddy.
This match was a banger. And in our prediction show last Friday night, we kind of alluded to, Sabin and Storm were really there just to take the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's what happened.
Of course.
Big Money Matt gets his nose in the match. He delivers a twist of fate. They hit the shooting star press, but right when Mark Quinn goes up for the shooting star press, you could barely see it, and it was a tap. But Machine Gun Carl Anderson barely taps him on the foot. He does the flip. He goes for the pin. The Machine Gun throws him out and covers Sabin for the win. So the commentary team again here, because this is like the kind of shenanigans that you would hate, because it looks like Private Party should be the champions. They're going to be the champions, but the Machine Gun pulls it out like that and it pisses everybody off. No. The commentary team puts it over as when you're a young team and you have veteran tag teams, barely touched him, so he didn't know the tag happened, and he throws him out. He goes, that is a veteran move, and the commentary team, to me, sold that finish. So, once again, Matt Striker's a freaking boss.
All right.
Absolutely. Matt Striker is amazing, but he's way underappreciated for what he does. He does not get nowhere near the credit and love that he should be getting.
Yes. Now, main event. Tommy Dreamer, 50 years old today. Happy birthday, Tommy. Thank you, Tommy.
Happy birthday, Tommy.
Against
Happy birthday, Mr. Dreamer.
the Impact champion, Rich Swann. The match is not as bad as you thought it would be. Dreamer does look a little aged. He does do this spot where he dislocates his finger, and they have a doctor looking at it, and they're thinking they're going to call this match, and Tommy, being the innovator of violence and the hardcore icon that he is, jams that thing back in there and keeps fighting. But this whole time, they're putting over the fact that Dreamer has a legitimate chance to still win this, that he still has fight in him, that he is this legend. He's done more in the ring than a lot of people will ever know, and he's forgotten more than people would ever know. Kind of giving you a feeling, well, maybe Tommy could hit a big move and hit a cutter or hit the Tommy bomb, something, the Tommy driver, and win this. But, of course, Rich Swann does what he does best. He gives Tommy these really good educated kicks. He has some hesitation in his kicks. There's one or two where he kind of does the Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, I'm sorry, and kicks the shit out of him. And then, the finish comes where Swann kicks Dreamer. Dreamer's trying to pop up, but he can't really get there, and he gets halfway up, and Swann nails him. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Throw that match away. Done. It's over. Hey, great fun and games. Tommy Dreamer got his chance on his birthday to try for the world title. Then shit goes crazy.
Oh, the pay-per-view ended?
No. This shredded monster that is Moose, who looks more muscular every time I see him. Moose. The new diet's working out great. The new training regimen's working out great. This guy looks like a killer. He's in the ring, and he's just this menacing figure behind Rich Swann, and Rich doesn't see him. So Rich turns around, boom, decks him. Rich is on his back. Tommy's getting up, and Moose delivers one of the hardest spears that Tommy has probably taken in a while. Tommy rolls out the way. Rich starts to get up. Moose again. Boom. Hard spear. He starts getting Rich's leg and starts driving that bad ankle and bad knee straight into the canvas. Moose goes for the chair and goes to put the chair at the ankle. And instead of putting it at the ankle, he takes it off. He lays it on the mat and once again raises his leg up and bam, slams it right into the chair. Moose looks at both belts. He takes the white belt, which is the TNA title, and he walks off. So we all know Moose is on the hunt. And throwaway match, we got to blow off to the knockoff matches. Not particularly great either one. The triple threats with, not the triple threat, but the six tag team, Kimberly, Deonna Purrazzo, and Susan going against ODB and everybody else on that team, which is just horrible. Jordan Grace and Jazz, that match was horrible, terrible, and that sucks because I like a lot of the competitors in it, but it just was just too many bad spots. They couldn't save the match. Jazz goes over with an STF on Kimberly, with the STF on Susan, terrible. So, next big knockouts match for the tag team championships. This was actually a barn burner for a good while. There were some blown spots, but it was watchable. It wasn't really great. So some kind of storytelling was there, but you're not taking the belts off of your newly crowned tag team champions. That's no way it was going to happen. Of course, Fire and Flavor retain, so we'll see what happens with them in the future. Hopefully they don't keep giving Havoc and Nevaeh title shots, but after Moose destroys shop, Impact goes off. Or do they? Apparently a promo runs right after. And there's an announcement that coming to Impact Wrestling this Tuesday, the day that this drops. So if you're listening to this, get on Access TV, get on Twitch. If you're listening to a day that drops on Tuesday, turn into Impact Wrestling because New Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Team Finn Juice will be in the Impact Zone. If you don't know Finn Juice, it is the son of WWE Hall of Famer Fit Finlay, also known as Finn Finlay, David Finlay, along with my favorite Eskimo brother, Juice Robinson. So give him a watch.
Who you may remember from his time in NXT as CJ Parker.
Or you may remember him from the Too Hotty list of Eskimo brothers.
That's what's really important.
That's all anybody cares about there.
Right.
So, I don't know. That it for Impact No Surrender, Jovan?
That is all the Impact news you can use.
All right.
Bonnie, well done.
Very nice. I think if nobody watched like us, I think we got a good idea of what happened.
Speak for yourself. I watch Impact. Jovanni watches Impact.
No, I'm talking about the show tonight.
Jay was about to call the Hounds.
Yeah, call the Hounds. Hey, speaking of the Hounds, let's move on to Wednesday night, NXT. Real quick, we talked about this last night when we recorded on our NXT prediction show for Vengeance Day. So we're really not going to touch on this at all. Go back and listen to that. And then our reaction show will have dropped by then too. So just go listen to those. But the main things you need to know from NXT, the Dusty Cup finals are set. You got Grizzled Young Vets versus MSK. Ember Moon, Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. That's really the main things that happen from Impact, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about, or just go straight to AEW.
Real quick, one thing that I definitely think we need to talk about, because I think this is actually one of the best things going on NXT right now, is the whole thing with Xia Li. Okay. I loved it. I loved how this mysterious figure, I can't remember what her name is, like and if one of you guys know, please let me know. But this mysterious figure that's sitting at ringside, one pretty powerful person, because he brought Boa down with some kind of nerve hold or something, basically set him in place. And then we got a little bit of a twist on this. After the match had happened, Xia Li's like basically destroying her competition in the ring, and it was Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro came to kind of try to calm the situation, and said, this isn't the Xia Li we know, and they're basically like trying to talk to this figures like, what have you done to her and everything. And the next thing you know, Xia Li attacks them both. I love the vignettes building this up, and man, they are just killing it with this. And it's just, I'm all in on this thing with Xia Li and Boa right now.
So the hidden figure's name is Tian Sha, and I hope I didn't mispronounce that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about from NXT other than the stuff that we talked about on the prediction show.
That's all that, we recapped it pretty well. I'm good with going straight to the good Wednesday night show.
The good Wednesday night show. I just want to get a few things in for Xia Li since you brought her up. I think once, she came back and she definitely has improved a lot. She looks like a badass. Even Boa too. They both look great. Yeah. I love the cinematics, with the filming and the way they're presenting this on TV. I definitely hope they do something with Xia Li and maybe possibly get her up into that title picture later this year. But we'll see. So yeah, like Jovan said, let's get into the other Wednesday Night War show, AEW. We started off with Darby Allin versus Joey Janela for the TNT Championship. This match, Joey got a little more offense than I thought he would. They referenced Excalibur did. He referenced these two fought during PWG times. So that was nice to hear that shout out. But Janela was trying to work over the arm for most of the match. But then Darby, because Janela was looking at the TNT title, Darby took advantage of that, hit the coffin drop, 1, 2, 3. Darby Allin is still your TNT champion. What did you guys think of the match to start off Dynamite?
I thought it was a good way to open the show. I mean, clearly, again, we're all seeing that, Darby is on his way to being a main player in Impact Dynamite.
There you go.
AEW and stuff, and all that. But it was really nice to see Joey Janela get some time, because he's more. He's trying to show that he's more than this guy that jumps off roofs into the back of a truck that's full of light tubes and stuff like that. Because Joey Janela can actually wrestle. Yeah, and I think it's nice to see them getting a chance to shine. But Darby's night wasn't done after that match, and
nope, not yet. If you take it away.
Yeah, well, Jovanni. Before I do that, I'm going to give Jovanni a chance to talk about this match if he has anything to add.
I'll be brief. Jelly Janela had a good showing. Darby rightfully won. I don't see why this was given as much time as it was. Jelly got in way too much offense. But go ahead, DDJ. Take it where you wanted to take it, behind that truck.
So a little bit later on after this match, in fact, I think it was the next segment, we got an interview from, Tony Giovanni where he interviewed, it's Sting, and stuff. And, and Sting got to talking. Next thing he really just kind of gets going on this promo. And then all of a sudden we start hearing Taz, who interrupts the promo. And basically you see, I think it was Power. He was in a Hummer or something with Powerhouse Sobs and his son Hook, and they were talking trash about Sting and stuff. And next thing we cut to absolute Ricky Starks and Brian Cage back there, and we see that they got a hold of they got to Darby and basically put him in a body bag, and basically Darby went for a ride. It's not the kind of ride that you really want to take, because he basically got dragged from the back of this, vehicle in a body bag. And I don't care who you are, but that can't feel good.
So you're telling me they put him in a body bag?
Yeah.
Yep, they put Darby in a body bag. Guys, I don't know about y'all, but even with Sting's promo and everything, does anybody else not really care about this match?
Sting didn't say shit. There was no promo. Sorry, everybody. I am over Sting. To have me get back into the Sting has to kill somebody at Revolution.
Yeah.
I'm so far gone and tired of seeing Sting and the fake snow and the face paint and the hair paint. I'm done with it. I'm done.
Hair paint?
He painted his hair.
Okay. Oh yeah. I see. I'm thinking now. I've never heard the term hair paint. I've heard of using Gorilla Glue for your hair.
Jesus Christ. There you go, the Junkyard.
Yeah, this is a disclaimer. If somehow you're doing something with Gorilla Glue and you think you want to put in your hair, please don't. It's stupid.
Exactly.
Okay.
Also, don't put it in my hole.
Apparently, you can get you can get people to raise money for you though if you use Gorilla Glue in your hair.
You know what? Now I might have to think about putting Gorilla Glue in my hole.
Oh, Jesus, please don't. And then also, and if you think about this is a shout out here, and if you think about streaking at the Super Bowl, don't bet on yourself to do it, and don't actually do it because you won't get the money. Okay, moving on.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the next match. You had Lee Johnson and Cody versus Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. This match, honestly, the only thing it was designed to do was to get Lee Johnson over. And honestly, I think they succeeded. Lee looked great. I've seen him wrestle at my local promotion, Southern Honor Wrestling. It's great to see him, getting a chance. And then, they were talking about like, oh yeah, he had this, he got his first victory. Well, of course he's going to get his first victory on Dynamite because he's been on Dark where he's, been enhancement talent. So it's nice to see they're taking him off Dark, or at least like giving him a story on, the main Dynamite. At the end, he had like a little interview with Tony Schiavone and, thanking all his coaches. Yeah, he thanked Arn, he thanked Cody, he thanked Brandy, he thanked Dustin, he thanked Q. No, he didn't thank QT. So I don't know if there was anything to it. I know we talked about it in chat. Maybe he just forgot in the moment. But QT was giving him a little bit of a, hey, dude, you forgot about me, and I'm like one of the head trainers here. So I don't know if there's anything going there. But also it was revealed that Cody might hurt himself during this match. I don't think it's anything serious, but I think he something with his triceps or rotator cuff or something like that. I think what I read.
Yeah, I believe they said it was like a slight tear of his rotator cuff, but it didn't sound like it was anything significant because from what I guess I heard, he's not expected to miss any time, and because they got that big tag team match coming up and stuff. And the interesting thing about that is it got moved to Dynamite because of the All-Star game, but I wonder if the NBA All-Star game ends up getting canceled because I know a lot of the NBA players have come out to say they don't want to do this. They don't want to do this and stuff. So maybe if it gets canceled, maybe the match gets pushed back to Revolution. But
no.
Besides the point, congratulations to Lee Johnson on getting his first win, and also congratulations to Lee Johnson because Lee Johnson is now hashtag All Elite.
Yeah. Officially was signed either this week or the past week and is a part of Nightmare Family now.
Yep.
Only thing I'm going to say on this, guys, is I can't take anybody serious whose name is Pretty Peter. 1.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Maybe he doesn't take Jovanni Too Hotty serious, the name.
Well,
that's all right. Jovanni Too Hotty could take out Pretty Peter. You better let Peter Avalon know that I will come after him, just like I will come after you, Jorge Conti. You want to team up with Pretty Peter Avalon or make it a handicap match? If both of you jabronis want to go one-on-one with the hot one, I will give you your chances because when I run into both of you, it'll be a worm made for 2. So type it up 2 times WORM for both of your candy asses. But
speaking of candy, is that a pixie stick you have in your hand?
It's a red pin. Or the ink to the red pin.
Oh, I have bad memories of red pins.
But got that over with. Hopefully QT and Lee Johnson do go at it because I think they'll be able to put on a good show. If he does train him, he knows his abilities and who could put you over better than your trainer. So I'm looking forward to it. But I'm done with that match, and I'm done with Pretty Peter Avalon. If he wants to bring his ass with Jorge Conti, I'll tear through them both.
You heard it here first, Junkies.
Exactly. Right. All right, let's get into I think an interesting segment of the night and then also the match. So we came back from TV and we kind of had last week MJF was shuffling everybody out after Sammy and Jericho left. But then we come back. Sammy is coming back into the room, shuffles everybody out. And basically he says, hey, I know what you're trying to do, Max. I know you're trying to take over the inner circle. And then if you don't notice, MJF takes out his phone. I'm like, okay, maybe it's in his pocket or something. And then it's revealed that he is actually recording Sammy saying, I'm going to leave the inner circle or you're taking the inner circle, whatever. So then he attacks MJF in the stomach. So then we get into the match right before everybody, Jericho and Inner Circle are getting interviewed, and then they're like, hey, did you see where Max is? And then he comes out holding his ribs to say Sammy punched him. We'll get back in the match in a minute, but after the match, Sammy comes out to the Inner Circle, and he's like, hey, I said this back last year. If one more thing happens between Max or any shenanigans, I'm done. And he said, hey, I'm done. So it looks like right now, Sammy Guevara is out of the Inner Circle. He said he's got some things to figure out. We don't know when he's going to be back. So, yeah, Sammy Guevara is right now at this current time not a member of the Inner Circle. Thoughts on that segment?
I sad to see Sammy go, but I think this is going to present an opportunity for him to go to that next level.
Yes.
I definitely think he may not be the only one that leaves the Inner Circle because of this, but clearly, and I think it's kind of one of those things where he knows what's going on with MJF, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like he tried to warn everybody else, but it just seems like none of them want to have any of it. So he's like, almost like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to start worrying about myself. I tried to warn you. It's going to be one of those things where he's going to come back and say, I told you so, because I clearly think MJF is trying to take over the Inner Circle. And I think eventually something's going to happen where he's going to take over and Jericho's going to be booted.
Oh, wow.
And that. So that's my hot take is I eventually think MJF will take over the Inner Circle and it'll be at the expense of Chris Jericho being kicked out.
It's a big hot take.
Yeah.
Sammy leaving the inner circle, I would love to see him go to Impact for a minute while we have this working relationship to kind of get him off of AEW, but keep him relevant.
Yeah.
For people leaving, man, I don't see anybody that was really as malcontent as Sammy in the group. I mean, Santana and Ortiz at one point looked like they were against it, but they kind of aligned with MJF after the whole Santana and MJF brotherly hug out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Sammy is a star. Sammy deserves to get that single push, so hopefully this turns into a good face run for him, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about the match real quick. You had MJF and Jericho versus the Acclaimed. The match was good, but I want to talk more about the Acclaimed. They are on they're getting a lot of wins on Dynamite. They are putting them over strong. I think they're number 4 in the rankings. And then of course, Jericho and MJF are the number 1 contenders to the tag titles. But the Acclaimed are slowly working their way, into that title picture, and they've already, had their shot. But I was shooting the shot early. But the charisma that Max Caster and then the athleticism of Anthony Bowens. Hot take, I think this team is going to find their way into an AEW tag title match maybe later this year and might possibly win them. If not this year, next year. I definitely think Top Flight has been a nice young team for AEW. The Acclaimed will be one of those tag teams that eventually makes their way to the tag scene.
Man, you know what? I really wasn't really getting or buying into the Acclaimed up till this week. I thought they had great showing. I thought they looked good. There were a couple points where I honestly thought they might pull off the upset and stuff. And I'm in with the Acclaim now. I'm definitely thinking definitely think that this is going to be a team much like, Top Flight that we're going to be talking about in terms of, the AEW tag team titles within the next year or two. And I mean, the future is bright for these two guys.
Yeah. I'll touch on the match real quick. There's not a more protected move in wrestling right now than the Judas Effect. So kudos to Chris Jericho.
Hot tag.
Tag him.
In terms of moves that are protected, there's, I think, one move that's protected more than the Judas Effect, and that is the one-winged angel.
Hot tag. Kota Ibushi kicked out of the one-winged angel. Nobody's kicked out of the Judas Effect yet.
I still think it's well. I'm going to agree to disagree with you on that.
We've seen, and if I'm right, I think Kota is the only person to ever kick out of the one-winged angel. Granted, I think it may have been back in the DDT days because I did look this up to settle an argument with somebody else. But nobody has kicked out of the Judas Effect. So put that up there as most protected. The match was great. A lot of storytelling. MJF's ribs played a part in this. The finisher for the springboard into the Judas Effect was beautiful. The Acclaim came out there and they showed everybody what they are, what they do, and it's definitely a big, bright future for that team, which I'm all for. They are something new, something fresh. That boombox could have very well been the finish with the boombox hit. I like the boombox hit as a heelish tactics. These guys got nowhere to go but up.
Definitely. Hey, the Acclaim have arrived.
You know who would have been a great sponsor for this match?
Who?
JVC, the big old kaboom box that they used to plug on WWE all the time.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah, so.
All right. Next up, we had the first round matchup on the U.S. side of the women's tournament to see who's going to face Sheeta for the AEW women's title. And that was Thunder Rosa, Jovan's girl, versus legit Layla Hirsch. So, Jovan, you want to lead off on this one?
Thunder Rosa goes in there, ladies and gentlemen. It shows you exactly why she is here to stay. I don't think it's official yet because she still has the contract with NWA. but it's at this point trivial. She's all elite. It's going to happen. She is looking like a monster. I have a feeling that she's going to go very deep into this competition. Maybe her and Britt Baker rubber match coming soon. We shall see. But hell of a match. Legit Layla Hirsch. Don't take anything away from her. She's got a lot of people that I want to see her go against. So I'm pretty sure we'll see more of her. But this was a great match.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of one of those cases, again, where Thunder Rosa went over, but I think Layla Hirsch got over with a lot of the people, including myself. Yes. And I just, definitely hope and feel, I hope that, and I also feel like that this won't be the last we see of her. I think she's going to be around for a while as well, too. Thunder Rosa, yeah, like I said, is going to have a deep run into this tournament. I think obviously we're going to see a rematch between her and Britt Baker. And like I said, still sticking with my prediction, though. I think Britt Baker's taking the whole thing.
It's getting harder and harder and harder for me to say that Britt Baker's going to take it all. But as of right now, she is a forerunner.
Yeah. We'll just have to see how the first round matchups shape up. And speaking of that, I think they said the Japanese side of the bracket will be on YouTube Monday and Tuesday, which is today and then yesterday. So those matches should already be up on the YouTube channel from the Japanese side. So I think they said they're running all the way through. So we should know by Wednesday who the winner of the Japanese side is.
And I think that's a great move because, again, it's going to give a lot of these Japanese women exposure to the U.S. audience to get us ready for whoever ends up traveling over here. And it's great that they're doing this all now because this gives whoever wins the tournament time, because with everything going on with travel restrictions and stuff, like if you're traveling to or from Japan, I know if you're traveling to Japan, mandatory 2-week quarantine as soon as you land. And I'm assuming coming from Japan to here, it's the same thing. So it's a smart move to get everything done. So that way, whoever ends up winning this tournament comes over, has the 2-week quarantine, and is ready to go by the time, the U.S. side of the bracket concludes. And we get that match, I believe they haven't announced when the finals is, but I would assume it'd have to be a week or two before Revolution, because I believe the title match is supposed to happen at Revolution, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is a smart move. From what I've been hearing, a lot of these matches are going to be exciting. We all know Sheeta's been over there producing these matches, and I'm anxious to see the setup. I'm anxious to see what the arena where they're performing. I know it's close set and stuff. That I like this. I'm intrigued. I'm going to definitely be tuning into YouTube. By the time this is aired, I will have tuned into YouTube yesterday and today, while waiting to get ready for work. So
I think AEW has proven that they're able to do these YouTube tournaments to great success, because the women's Deadly Draw tournament was based solely on YouTube until the final. Yep. And that had hell a lot of people looking into it. It was a big audience when they were live. It was a big rewatch audience once things started really getting to go. This seems to be their model. Don't fix it if it's not broken. I'm all in.
But no, I definitely think I'm really excited about this because a lot of these women on the Japanese side, I haven't seen, so I'm anxious to see what we're gonna get with a lot of these Japanese women. So it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a great way to get exposed to some new talent.
Indeed.
Shout out to Thunder Rosa. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I am a big Power Rangers fan. She was rocking some Power Rangers Dino Thunder gear, like the White Ranger. They talked about that in some groups I was in. It was like, that's awesome. That's almost when Big Swole wore her MMPR yellow gear with the bear logo. So that's awesome. Hopefully we see her back on TV soon, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to hold off on talking about the main event. We got to talk about a big storyline that's been happening with Hangman Adam Page, Big Money Matt, and the Dark Order. So I'm going to take this one if you don't mind.
Please
shoot it.
All right.
Boy.
Huh?
Shoot your shot and make it good.
All right. So a few segments that happened. So the first one happened when Matt Hardy was talking to Hangman, and he's like, hey, Come with me, have some drinks. It's all on me. I want to talk about this contract. I think we'll make a great tag team. We can go after those titles and everything, trying to, butter him up. And he's just like, hey, drinks are on you? Okay, that's cool. That's fine. So then Matt Hardy walks away, and then Hangman starts walking away. And then who does he run into? The Dark Order. They're like, hey, who are you? We don't know who you are. And he's like, hey, guys. And then they just like blow him off, and he just walks away. And everybody just gives him the evil eye. And then you see on at the end, because if you've been watching BTE, there was a moment when they had a sleepover, and then Hangman overheard everything. And Anna basically just told him off. It's like saying, hey, don't do these to these guys. They put so much hard work into this, and you just blew them off. And I know you don't want to be part of a team, but you let these boys down and you broke their hearts. And then, of course, Alan Angels, they did the Valentine's Day episode, and everybody gave their Valentine to Wardlow, which, first off, that was funny as hell. But then Alan Angels gives his Valentine to Hangman, but then Hangman's not there. And then Matt Hardy sees that Alan Angels was trying to give his Valentine to Hangman and just, rips it up and destroys it. So that's not done there. I think there's so much more storyline to be told there. But let's get into the second half of the segment where Matt Hardy is in the bar with Hangman. You can clearly see Matt Hardy is dumping his drinks out. Hangman is, pounding them back, of course, because he's doing some cowboy shit. And then Matt Hardy tells him about, hey, yeah, sign the contract, do the 30% thing. You'll be a big star. You'll be making enough. You won't even need to worry about it. And then he hands Hangman the contract. And then Matt Hardy says, like, oh, yeah. I wanted you, to document this all so everything goes down. Hangman signs the contract. And it looks like Hangman is now a part of the big money Matt brand. So just stays there to drink. Going back into the Dark Order thing, still pissed he didn't go with the Dark Order. I get his reasoning. And the Dark Order, I don't know if they could ever be healed again, but I think they should lay out Hangman because he's a piece of shit. And then with Big Money Matt, I think hopefully Hangman it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But then Hangman lays out Matt Hardy because he's a piece of shit. And everybody wants Hangman, and I am really loving this progression they've had with him, especially last year when he had, the whole storyline with Kenny Omega and going down the dark hole. Not my
Dark hole.
Nope, stop.
My hole.
But now with Hangman being this hot commodity, it'll be interesting to see how he's worked with Matt Hardy. And again, I don't think we're even close to done with the Dark Order stuff. So in the coming weeks, months, wherever they're going with this, I think right now that's one of the most interesting things that they're doing on AEW television. And I'm very interested to see where they go with this. Again, Hangman, we know you had to make the decision you did because you weren't ready to be part of a tag team, even though you just signed with Matt Hardy, you piece of shit. Join the Dark Order. Okay, I'm done.
Tell us how you really feel.
This has been your Dark Order paid segment of the show.
I mean, I got the purple light on. It's pretty obvious.
One thing, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, if I may have missed it and stuff, but did you guys see that Hangman Page may have gotten one over on Big Money Matt? Because if you remember, Hangman Page did not sign the contract that Matt Hardy gave him. When Matt Hardy had his back turned, he pulled the old switcheroo, pulled out another contract and signed that, and got Matt Hardy to sign that. So I think somehow Hangman Page got one over on Matt Hardy.
Interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually missed that part.
Go look it up.
I did too.
I caught it right away.
Huh. We'll have to see how this goes.
That's definitely okay. Hangman, you might not be such a piece of shit now if you actually get one over on Matt Hardy and you join the Dark Order. Okay, that's fine.
So get off of the Dark Order Love Fest. Let's talk about that main event.
Hey, I got to get it in where I can, okay?
My hole.
Dark Order, if you're listening, please just accept Spencer into your group so he'll quit asking.
He's like that really, really obsessed chick. He's got Dark Order written all over his Trapper Keeper.
Mr. and Mrs. Dark Order.
Oh, don't even get started on that one. Okay,
He's
let's
got the
move
number
on to
11 drawn on everything.
Little hearts with the arrow going through them. Spencer and Johnny, or Spencer and Alex, or Spencer and Anna, or Spencer and Stu.
No, it's Spencer and everybody in the Dark Order, man. Come on. I don't just single them out anymore. It's a whole. We're a family, damn it.
Mr. and Mrs. Spencer Dark Order.
Damn straight. All right.
Spencer's got a purple wedding dress ready to go.
Oh, all right. Okay, are we done? Can we get into this main event? Because it's worth talking about.
My hole.
Guys, welcome to the Junkyard, where we make going off the rails an art form. Again, look for merch coming soon, and it maybe might have something to do with that catchphrase. All right. Moving on.
And then we're going to be, our next shirt's going to be a My Hole shirt.
A My Hole shirt? Oh.
All right, guys, let's get into the main event of the evening. It was a Falls Count Anywhere match between the AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega, the number one contender for the IWGP US Championship, Kenta, coming out to his badass theme. He had the case and everything, versus Jon Moxley and the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer. Whew, this was a great match. It's amazing. And then, of course, I forgot to mention, Mox came out with the IWGP US Championship. The first time we've seen that on AEW television, and they recognized him as that champion. So that's cool to see. And they kept mentioning, the Forbidden Door's open. The Forbidden Door's open. And we talked about it, I think, on the prediction show last night on for NXT. It's like, they trademarked Forbidden Door
and Forbidden Portal. I believe they got both.
Yeah, so we're going to be hearing those a lot more for sure. But going back into the match, this was everything we thought it was going to be. It was hard hitting, amazing spots. They fought all over the arena. We even made it back into the kitchen. There was a part where the referee was trying to hold the tables because they were very unstable. You could tell that. And then Jon Moxley comes in, or no, was it Lance Archer? One of the two comes in with like a box of potatoes and hits Kenta with them, and that was very spectacular.
Horrible.
But in the end, the team of Kenta and Kenny Omega go over with help from the Good Brothers, who help Kenny lift up Lance Archer, which is amazing in itself, into a one-winged angel. And your champions, or the winners of the match, are Kenta and Kenny Omega. So Bullet Club reigns supreme. Let's talk about it. What did you guys think of the match?
The match was a lot of fun, and like I said, it was wild, it was crazy, it was, everything you wanted this match to be. But just going back to this whole thing, how freaking cool is it that we are witnessing this?
Yes,
something that we thought we'd never see. You've got, one of your top AEW wrestlers who is a champion in another organization being recognized now by AEW as the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion. You've got Kenta, a New Japan Pro Wrestling contracted wrestler, competing on an AEW show. We're seeing things now that we thought we'd never see, and it's just like I said. I think we alluded to this at some point over the last week or so. What a time to be a wrestling fan! Yep. And just this match was great. It's just there's so much more to this. It's just I am loving this. I am like McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Amazing.
It was better than Spencer's spectacular thing. So
not by much.
No better, that's all that counts.
But It was a great match. Daly's Place lends itself to these Fall Count Anywhere match because if you've been there, there's so much to cover in Daly's Place. I love the kitchen spots. I would have loved to seen a stadium spot. But all in all, even with Pretty Peter's bed spot, I still thoroughly enjoyed this this match. Hot take. This match would have benefited from being 5 minutes shorter. Felt like it dragged a little bit in some spots.
Yeah.
If we would have been able to really tighten it up a little bit, get everything in, maybe cut one or two small things, would have made the match a lot easier to digest. And I think that may have been what the issue was with this. Just so much going on, so much madness. But for what it was, man, it was a picture perfect showing of what AEW is doing now, what the future may look like, and why everybody's excited about not only this company but the prospect of things to come. So I'm in. I'm all in. We'll see where we go in the future with this.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that leads us into guys, we do this thing here where we do a Junkyard pick of the week. I think it's pretty obvious who we're going to pick, but hey, let the people know what your Junkyard pick of the week is.
Who wants to go first?
I'll get mine out real quick just because it's easy for me, you guys. Pick of the week, if you could watch one show and one show only, watch AEW because it really was a complete show, bell to bell, very good stuff. And if you could only watch one match and if you don't have time to watch a whole show, go through that street fight. It could have been a little shorter, but it gives you everything you want.
Good choice. All right, so yeah. So if we're picking a show of the week, I definitely got to go with AEW because from top to bottom, it was the most complete thing that I saw all of last week. But my pick for match of the week is not actually going to be from AEW. I'm going to actually go to NXT. I thought the match between MSK and Legado del Fantasma, which was the kickoff to this week's NXT, amazing, fun, fast-paced match. It was when this match was set up. This was the type of match I'd hoped it'd be. It did not disappoint. It exceeded my expectations. And so my pick for match of the week is Legado del Fantasma against versus MSK in the semifinals of the Men's Dusty Cup.
Nice.
Okay. I'm going to piggyback on Jovan, you and Dennis. Show of the week, AEW. Great show. Not because it's the only one I really saw this week, but my Junkyard pick of the week. I definitely got to go with that Falls Count Anywhere match. Match was great, fun, entertaining. Just the fact we're seeing this on television with Kenta, the championship, the briefcase, all this stuff is on AEW television. Dennis, you said it perfectly. What a time to be a wrestling fan.
You know, real quick, too, one other thing I think we'll all be in agreement on is the moment of the week.
No.
Giovanni, you ready? 1,
Yes.
2, 3. My hole!
You know what, Spencer? Since we're talking about holes, let me go ahead and throw in some New Japan real quick.
Go ahead.
While we're throwing in shows of the week, guys, really, if you only have an hour to watch of wrestling, so you can't watch a full 3 hours of Raw, you can't watch a full 2 hours of any other show that's better than Raw, do yourself a favor and watch an hour of NJPW Strong. Not a lot of big names right now, but the amount of wrestling and the level of wrestling they're putting into that hour worth of show is amazing. On the New Japan train, I'm just going to get these out real quick for people who are following New Japan. We all know that Kota Ibushi's big match with Sonata has already happened. Kota walked away, of course, with both belts because he is still God. But weird twist, because everybody now found out that Kota Ibushi is wanting to unify the belts, make them one solid champion. But a former champion, which is Mr. Naito, Tetsuya Naito, does not like that. He told basically Kota Ibushi it's time to be tranquilo, and he wants to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship by itself, which to me is a great idea because I love that belt. The design, the look, the white belt's amazingly beautiful. Mm-hmm. And Naito was one of the better Intercontinental champions that they've had in a long time. So it makes a lot of sense. Recapping again. So the Guerrillas of Destiny and Jay White were unable to win the Trios Tag Team Championships, which actually led to Yoshihashi and Goto challenging the Guerrillas for their Tag Team Championship. So we'll see how that ends out. that it's going to be hard to beat the Gorillas right now with that Gorilla Paw of Destiny. I don't think they've officially named it yet. It might be the Iron Paw one day, but I'm going to keep throwing out names out there that I think sound good. Give me the Monkey Paw of Doom. But, right? Last thing we're going to touch up on New Japan, you guys, is there's going to be a face-off for the light heavyweight title. Of course, I can't even say his name. How do you say it, Spencer?
Hiromu Takahashi.
Hiromu Takahashi is going to go against ELP. These guys stole the show during the first night of Wrestle Kingdom. This has Barn Burner written all over it. If you're up to staying until ungodly hours of the morning to watch some damn good wrestling, that might be one to airmark.
Yeah, definitely. And if you can't, just watch it the next day. It's on New Japan World. You'll be fine.
Very true. They won't spoil this like they used to try to spoil the other shows.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't already, on Roku TV, you can catch that hour they put on every Thursday is 5 p.m. Eastern. I think they did Wrestle Kingdom 14, or at least highlights from it.
Yes.
So definitely that's a good way to get into New Japan and start figuring out what everything's going about. So go check that out.
Speaking which, don't forget, coming soon, a special edition of the Junkyard where we talk about all but everything New Japan Pro Wrestling, kind of like a New Japan Pro Wrestling for dummies.
Ooh, so a full episode dedicated to a New Japan Pro Wrestling roundtable?
Yeah, buddy.
For dummies?
For dummies. But yeah, that's later down the road. But I think it's time to get on to this week's weekly roundtable, where we're going to talk about meet and greets and our personal experiences meeting wrestlers and personalities. So, guys, here's this week's weekly roundtable. As I alluded to earlier, before we got into this segment here, we're going to be talking meet and greets. Those can be in person, or those could be virtual. Just like our virtual Markouts, we have been doing a ton of those since early last year. We have a big meet and greet actually coming up on February 22nd at 7 p.m. with a mystery guest. So that's something you guys want to tune into for sure. With the personal ones and, the ones in person or even virtual, people spend a good amount of money either, or time to travel to these meet and greets in person. Mm-hmm. So let's just get into it. What is maybe your first memory of a meet and greet where you either traveled or you did one virtually that you guys want to talk about?
For me, one of the very first ones I remember going to, I think it was like a fan fest for an ECW pay-per-view that was in town, and got to meet a lot of guys. I got to meet Lance Storm, Dawn Marie, Spike Dudley, Joey Styles, Jazz, and it was like one of the first real like fan fest they did. But probably like the best one I had, like when I first started going to these, was in 2002. It was right after WWF became WWE. My best friend and I, we drove about an hour and a half north from Aurora, Illinois, which is where I grew up, to a little town called McHenry, Illinois, which is kind of getting close to the Wisconsin border. And we went to go see Jerry the King Lawler, who was doing a signing at a comic book shop. We like you said, we drove there about an hour and a half to get there. We were actually the first ones there. And so, we went in, got to meet him, say hello, got a picture with him, got an autograph from him and stuff. And as we were walking out, the owner of the comic book store is like, hey, he talked to us. He's like, hey, guys, stick around for a little bit, So we kind of hung out, looking around the store and stuff while he was continuing the autograph session and stuff. After it was over with, we got to sit with like a few other people and a lot of the employees of the store, and we got to listen to Jerry Lawler tell stories. And a lot of the stories he told actually wound up being in his book that he released later that year. And it was just the coolest thing. Just like that is one of my favorite things about meet and greets is like when you get time to talk to these wrestlers and you get to hear them tell stories about, and stuff. That's like, and that was just like one of probably like when I first started doing meet and greets, that was like probably the best one of like my early years of doing these.
All right, man. That's a good one. Jerry the King.
Yep.
So I may or may not have been on record of saying that my actual ability to go to events and go to these meet and greets happened a lot later in life once I started actually working and making my own money for reasons when I was younger. Times were tough. But fortunately, I believe one of my first memories of actually doing a meet and greet was during the WrestleMania Access. I had just all the legends that I was able to meet. Even though the Access kind of has and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it kind of has like a herd mentality, get you in and get you out as fast as possible.
Yep.
You're not really able to enjoy the people while you're there. It's just in and out, in and out. But that was one of my first experiences. So you take that first experience of the WWE standard of, get you in and get you out to one of my best experiences, which is at my first StarCast, which was StarCast. I believe I can't remember if I went to one, but I remember going to two. So in Vegas, yes, which was a complete dumpster fire because of the different locations. But anyway,
I heard about that. Yeah.
So you know what? No, one was my first one because that was the first one in Chicago. So
yep, that was a mess because of how that was so crowded.
It was overly crowded. Then you have the one in Vegas that was in two different areas, three if you included another spot that it was nuts. But then you get StarCast 3.
Yep.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed StarCast 3.
Yes.
The ability that there wasn't a lot of people. It was a lot organized. And it was in the same spot as one. So I don't know if they just figured out schematics better, but the meet and greet lines weren't too bad. I was able to see the Bucks for the first time since I think earlier that year I saw them in Florida. But they, we talked for a minute. I was able to have that moment with them, had the moment with CM Punk, which was amazing, had an amazing moment with Mick Foley. But just giving that time to have, the different on-sites of this is how one place does it. You're in, you're out, you get your auto and you're happy. Get a photo if you're lucky. To mass craziness. There's so many people. Where can I go? Whose line's the shortest? You're probably meeting Virgil. To here's my list of times. Oh gosh, I got to go to there. I got to come back to here, and I got to go. And then there's still the event, and then 3 where it was, holy crap, between this, and this, I have time to go here and see this person. Oh, wow, Darby Allin is in the small one, and nobody really knows who Darby is yet, so no one's really talking to him right now. That's cool. MJF has a long line, but he's going through them because he's just berating people. That's pretty cool. But you really, StarCast 3 to me was one of my best overall experiences from a live standpoint. Now, virtual. Everything we've done with PWJ's virtual markout is amazing. Not to toot our own horn, not to blow ourselves up, but the amount of contact and the amount of just amazing memories we've had that we provide for free rivals anything that these other vendors charge you for. Now, I say this because you can watch something and they have a virtual meet and greet, but you're typing in your question. We put you on screen. You're able to get your question out, and you could be talking to somebody that you would never in a million years think that you're going to talk to. Case in point, my favorite virtual markout was Vampiro, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and just talk about a time when you're trying not to mark out. Having him tell his story, because I'm very vocal about being Puerto Rican, very vocal of, our people are known for one certain thing in the wrestling community, and that's what happened to Brody Lee. And not Brody Lee, excuse me, Bruiser Brody. And to have Vampiro say, well, hell, I had to fight that dude when I was in Puerto Rico. I didn't want to go in the showers. I didn't want to go into the lockers. And I fought Invader. And that moment for me was just amazing. It blew my mind. And then the Jovanni Hotty, get the hell out of here. He laughed at the name. Dude, I freaking tried so hard not to mark out. And I probably didn't say a lot because I was literally in awe of being able to talk to somebody who I had looked up to for a very long time. So, like Spencer said, we have one coming up on the 22nd. Guys, if you have the ability to try to get in, it is going to be hard. Our bigger names are really hard to get into. But this is so amazing. And it's such an amazing thing that we're...
No, because nobody's told me yet.
DDJ has been in our virtual markouts before. He knows how it runs, so he could stop it to the baby. But I'm done putting us over. Spencer, go ahead.
Oh, wait, you're done putting Pro Wrestling Junkies over the podcast network, the network you can find, the Junkyard? You're done with that? Oh, man, no. We're going to keep this train going.
Not for the moment.
But no, seriously, I'll go into like my personal experience with meet and greets, but I want to kind of touch on that. And the Vampiro thing was a perfect thing to kind of segue into this. When we got done with our virtual markouts, there is a point where our guests get the chance to, put themselves over, plug anything they want to. This man said, I can't, and to our guy that runs the virtual markouts, Jacob, he said, how can I put myself over? Like, you should take this time to put yourself over, put Pro Wrestling Junkies over. He was in awe of what we did. He was grateful, we did this, and I literally still have that video saved on my phone. That was just a moment. I was just like, we are doing something special here, and we can't stop. We got to keep going. And, as Jovan said, we got that big meet and greet coming up on February 22nd. Again, it's going to be really good. Get in there. But, we've had amazing experiences. We've got to talk to Kurt Angle, Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers. We had one with Jovan's boy Moose. Just so many other great names. We talked to Deanna Purrazzo, even though there was complications.
Reynolds.
Yeah, Alex Reynolds and John Silver joined the Dark Order. Even got a T-shirt out of that one. Still don't get any credit, but it's fine.
behind the curtain on Moose, I talked to Moose when I was like, "Hey, so we do this thing that's a virtual markout." And Moose is the coolest dude ever. He's like, well, what is it? Am I going to assign things? Am I going to take random questions? I said, well, no, dude, this is what they're doing. We're going to do, it's like a video chat. They're going to pull you up and you're going to talk to people. And Moose goes, no one's going to want to talk to me. And I said, dude, you're freaking Moose. I said, yes, you are. And Moose was like, okay, I'll do like 30 minutes. And if I remember correctly, Moose went maybe 45, just a little short of an hour or almost an hour because he had such traction. So peek behind the curtain. Some of these guys who are doing these virtuals have never done it before. They haven't heard of the concept.
Yeah.
And especially when you have a relationship with one of the talent and you're trying to talk to them and give them like some insight on what it's like, they don't know what it's actually going to be like until they're actually on it, and then that's where you get the magic.
Yeah, definitely. Then we've got that from like a lot of our talent we've talked with.
Real quick, one of the coolest things about these markouts is that it's led to us, being able to kind of have some more time with these guests. Like for us, we had Chris Van Vliet on a markout.
Mm-hmm.
He was on our show, The Junkyard.
Yeah.
We had the Godfather on. He was just recently on Such Good Shoot. And speaking of Vampiro, he's going to be on Such Good Shoot this coming week with Isaac, Shane, and Dozer. So, and I think we're trying to work it out to where he's going to come on the Junkyard sometime soon, hopefully as well too.
Maybe.
Man, don't forget our first ever, our inaugural, the good bad guy, man, Tama, baby.
Ooh, that was a good one, yeah, for sure.
Tama Tonga was amazing.
He was awesome. But yeah, no, it's really cool what these things have led to, and that. So, I mean, another one that was a personal favorite of mine was when we had Colt Cabana on. Again, I mean, you guys know I've been pretty open about how, Colt was really the inspiration behind me getting into this thing we call podcasting. So it was a huge honor to be able to talk to him and get some advice from him on, what I can do to, make my show better and stuff. So I thought that was a really cool moment for me.
Nice.
Yeah. And before I'll get back into mine in a minute, but I'm just like, these markouts provide, an experience, an opportunity for fans to meet these wrestlers that, they might not have had a chance to ever meet, and they can just do it through the convenience of a phone or a laptop or a computer or whatever. And they can have like 2 to 3 minutes of just talking with the wrestlers. Like, I mean, if it goes somewhere, we'll cut it off. We know when to do that. But for the most part, they've usually gone over well, and we get great responses and positive feedback. So it's I know, again, we're tooting our own horn, but I think we are doing something special in the pro wrestling community, and some people just don't know how to take it. I'm
sorry. I just one other thing that I kind of want to briefly mention, and then I promise I'll let you get into your thing. I think one of the best parts about these virtual markouts that we do is seeing the genuine reactions of like excitement, shock, surprise, happiness, joy from a lot of these people, that show up, because like you said, if this doesn't happen, do these fans ever get the opportunity to talk to these guys, So just seeing the reactions and just the pure joy, on the faces of a lot of these people, because they get to talk to, their favorite wrestlers. I think that's like one of the best parts about this.
Agreed.
Okay, Spencer, I promise now you go ahead.
Oh, now I can go? Okay.
I'm giving you permission.
That's fine. And that was a great point to add, DDJ. So I appreciate you doing that. And just letting you guys know, I know a few names that are coming up, definitely some you don't want to miss. But let's get back into this. So my first actual meet and greet, and I became a wrestling fan. Like I've talked about this before, like earlier, I was a wrestling fan like 2007 to 2011, didn't really do anything, just watched the television. But then in 2016, I got back into it. I didn't go into my first meet and greet until I went to StarCast, the first one, like Jovan was talking about, during All In weekend. My first ever meet and greet, ever having like an interaction with wrestlers, getting anything signed, that was with Cody and the Young Bucks. That meet and greet was great. Again, it was crowded. It was packed. They were pushing people out. You maybe got a quick interaction with them, but you got your photo. The guy said, "Hey, hand me your phone, take a photo, sign it." I was actually trying to get, I wanted my Pops signed, and I got those signed over in the corner over there. But I really wanted to I have like the big All In poster. I wanted that signed by him, but they were only allowing one item. So it was, trying to get used to everything. Then I had the opportunity, and I'm just going to kind of roll into like my whole experience there. I had the opportunity to meet Hangman, Marty Scurll, like basically all the members of the Elite there, Rey Mysterio. And then I actually was fortunate enough, and through a series of events and like Twitter DMs and everything, I missed out on tickets for the CM Punk meet and greet at Pro Wrestling Tees that weekend. But thankfully, from a kind Twitter user, he sold me his ticket, so I was able to go with that and meet CM Punk. That was a great experience. It was really nice meeting Phil, and then I had, after All In on that Sunday, they had a meet and greet with Kazuchika Okada. And I had the opportunity to be able to, get a picture and get my Okada dollar I actually got from All In. Went out on the floor, picked it up, got that signed by him, and that was just an amazing experience. It's great, looking back on the photos and just be like, oh, wow, I can't believe I actually got to meet these people. I paid for it later because, it wasn't cheap. That's one thing about these meet and greets is some of them aren't cheap, but just the experience and having, that moment with the wrestler or wrestling personality is just something you'll never forget. And I went to StarCast too also, but there were issues with my work and delays in my plane and everything. So I missed out on some of those, but I definitely think, when everything opens back up, that's something I definitely want to get back into. It's like being able to, go to these meet and greets, meet these wrestlers, getting photos, getting stuff signed. That's just one thing, you know, with the pandemic, hasn't been able to happen. And I know like AEW are doing meet and greets and behind the safe barriers and everything. So that's great to see. So maybe whenever I get to travel down there, because they didn't have one when me and Jovan went to All Out. But hopefully the next time we travel down there, or even another show, we're able to, you know, do a meet and greet and it's all safe and everything goes good. But that's kind of my meet and greets all rolled into one. So that's what I had to say.
So I will say this, man. Meet and greets give you the opportunity to do special things that you probably wouldn't have ever thought of. People that, you know, you probably would think, you know, there's no way we're going to have any shred of commonality. These people are big time movies, TVs, you know. And funny thing, man. You can go out there and you can mark out real bad and then have a weird experience like I did with SCU because I marked out over Christopher Daniels. I'm sorry, Kaz. I've apologized for that whole weekend every time I saw him because it's like he remembered because he looked at me and every time he would be like, oh, so you're here for Daniels again. And I'm sorry, Kaz. But I was there for a meet and greet with Cody and Pharaoh, and I got there real early because I wanted to be one of the first ones. I had my Cody pop. Very, 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 very excited because I'm a big Cody fan. And I get there, and Cody's showing up, and he goes, yeah, meet and greet's not for like another hour and a half. And I said, yeah, I just didn't want to be late, man. I had nothing else to do. I don't live here. So, you know, I flew in. And he started laughing, and, you know, he's got Pharaoh. He was walking him before the actual meet and greet. He goes, well, you want to rock around with us? I'm like, hey, let's do it.
Whoa.
Damn, that's cool.
So I'm walking around the hotel in the little side building with Cody Rhodes and Pharaoh. I'm petting Pharaoh, and Cody has a cigar, and he's like, are you going to the cigar meet and greet later? And I'm like, I didn't know there was a cigar meet and greet. He goes, yeah, you know, the Smoke and Mirrors, or American Rebel, excuse me.
Yeah.
American Rebel has a meet and greet going on, and we're going to be smoking cigars, and we're going to be doing this and that. And he goes, I don't think Pharaoh's going to be there because he doesn't like to smoke so much. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. You know, I'm down. So he told me when to get there. I got there early. Like, I was the second person there. He gives me a cigar. I'm smoking on it, and I got a photo with him and I with cigars in our mouth.
Nice.
And I get maybe 3 cigars off of Cody during that whole event. But, like, that whole time, when we're walking Pharaoh and we're at the cigar event, I found out that Cody Rhodes is a big-time gamer, that he is a Trekkie, that he's a Star Wars fan. And these are things that I never knew. We're just walking along and, you know, we're talking and just jiving. And I don't know how we got onto video games, and we started talking about Zelda, and God, we were lost in Zelda.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then
Yep.
we started smoking the cigars, and we finally started talking shop and talking wrestling, which I was like, dude, I've literally spent half the damn day with Cody Rhodes, and I'm barely just now getting to wrestling. So
Yeah.
that was amazing to me. It's things that you don't know, commonality that you have with these people until you actually meet them.
One of the things, and just this kind of, you know, is a perfect segue into this thought I want to share, is we see these guys, and they're these larger-than-life characters that they portray these larger-than-life characters on TV. But when you go to these meet and greets and you get to spend time with them, much like Jovanni just talked about, and I'm going to kind of go into a little story about what is my all-time favorite meet and greet and stuff, you realize they're people like you and I. And that is like the best thing, you know, we realize that we're all just people, you know, it's just these guys do this thing that we're all fans of and that. So, but I kind of had a similar, you know, thing with the meet and greet, but mine goes back a few years. I'm talking about almost 20 years.
Damn.
It was back in June of 2003. I believe it. The date was June 5th, 2003. This little company called Pro Championship Wrestling, based in Elk Grove, Illinois, was getting ready to have their biggest show of the year, their WrestleMania, called Dream Night. And as part of the show, they were bringing in my very good friend P.L. Myers, who was one of the owners of PCW at the time and stuff. He and I become pretty good friends because I used to regularly attend the shows. He asked me to help him sell tickets for the show. I think I maybe sold one or something, but he was really good to me. He set it up to where that morning I got to have breakfast with Road Warrior Hawk,
Oh,
Paul Ellering, and it was like a few of us. It was me. It was my friend PL, who's actually very good friends with Road Warrior Hawk, and and Ellering and Road Warrior Animal. You all right there, Spence?
Yeah, just covered.
Yeah, okay. But and it was just a few of us. It was guy by another friend of mine named Frankie Rodriguez, and there's a few other guys, and basically they were doing Hawk and Ellering were doing a signing at, believe it or not, an Old Country buffet.
nice.
So I think it was before the thing started, or it was after, everything. I'm sitting here having breakfast with one half of my all-time favorite tag team and the brains behind the Brawn and Paul Ellering. And I got to hear so many cool stories. And I got to sit there, and I think I sat right next to Hawk, and we were just talking. And the one thing I will never forget, I don't even know what we were talking about at the time, but I had made mention of the fact is I've been single for a little while. I really hadn't hadn't been with anyone since, it'd been almost a year at the time. Hawk looks at me and goes, "You're not gay, are you?" I started laughing. I'm like, "No, sir, no, I'm not." And I mean, he was just cracking jokes and stuff. And that was just so cool to just kind of have that moment with Hawk, that to have that experience with, that probably not a lot of people got to have, And I got to listen to Paul Ellering tell stories about his time doing the Iditarod and just what that was like. But that day wasn't even over yet, because afterwards, we all went back to the hotel they were staying at. I was chilling in my friend PL's room while he was went to the gym and was working out and stuff. And I remember going downstairs, meeting up with him, and I'm in the main lobby area, and I look to I think it was to my left, and all of a sudden I see Road Warrior Animal there, literally standing right in front of me, getting ready to check in, and I'm shaking because I'm like, this dude is huge. And I was so afraid to go up to him and introduce myself, because I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I got introduced to him, Animal just as cool. But it gets even better, because also appearing at that show was one Jimmy Superfly Snuka. And the crown jewel of that day was, and I'd known about this in advance, but just realizing it was going to happen, I got to drive Jimmy Snuka to the show.
Wow.
My dad had, at the time, I don't even remember what I was driving at the time, but my dad had a nice, I think it was a nice white Pontiac Bonneville that he's got all cleaned up and stuff, because he knew how excited I was for this. It's like, here, you take this car, and go out there. So I'm driving in my dad's Bonneville. It's me driving. I got, I think Snuka was in the back, and then there were a couple other people I was taking to the show as well too. And I remember we were leaving the hotel parking lot, and Jimmy Snuka's like, "Brother, can you take me to the gas station?" He asked me to take him to the gas station. I took him to the gas station. He went in and bought some cigarettes. Then he gets back in the car. I'm driving him to the arena and just listening to him tell stories and just thinking, this guy here is like a legit Hall of Famer, and I'm driving him to a show.
Yeah.
I get to the show, he gets in. I go back to the hotel, because then, I got to make sure, Hawk and Animal and Ellering and their families were all ready. And basically, I escorted them to the show. They didn't ride with me. I think I had a couple other, people that were with them and stuff. But I basically led them to the show. Got there, once they got in, got settled, I was kind of helping out with some stuff. I got to go backstage and watch Hawk and Animal put on the face paint. I got to watch them get ready for the show. And the picture that I had with them, which I think I've shared in the group, or if not, I can send it to you guys. They just finished putting their paint on. They had the shoulder pads and everything, and it's just getting a chance to hang out with them. It's just, and then it was a great show. After the show, we went and hung out at this bar that was right by the hotel. I think I had a Pepsi or something, because I didn't want to drink, because I was in my dad's car and stuff, but it's just, man, it was just probably the greatest experience I've ever had interacting with professional wrestlers, was that day right there. And it's just, again, these guys, and then obviously a few months later, sadly Hawk passed away unexpectedly, and that hit me really hard and stuff. But I mean, it's just that experience is something that I will never forget. And in terms of the greatest days of my life, not including my wedding and not including the birth of my son, that is definitely up there.
Nice.
Yeah, I think your wife and your son would have beat you senseless if you didn't say they were 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, this was like almost this was like 8 years before I started dating my wife, and this is like well before they came in the picture. But yeah, no, outside of again, the birth of my son and my wedding day, this is probably like the greatest day of my life was that day right there, and it's just the memories will be something that stick with me forever and stuff. So, but I got one other really good story I'm going to share, but I want to give you guys some more time to talk about some of your experiences.
All right. So unlike DDJ and Jovan, I don't have any cool stories to talk about. Maybe in the future I'll have something to talk about. I've had, great experience with people, but nothing on that level, hanging with Cody Rhodes and Hawk and Animal and everything. Just one thing I want to touch on, and then DDJ, I'll let you finish it off with your story. And Jovan, how you want to finish it off. We see these wrestlers, maybe just walking on the street or something. And, there's the paid meet and greets. But then if we see them, we're like, oh man, I'm so scared to take a photo. They're not, they're not human. They're a big personality. It's just like, yes, one, you should be very respectful of their time if they're with their family or anything. Don't go bother them. But maybe if they're, by themselves or talking to somebody and you maybe see like, one, and this is something, and I've seen this on the internet before. If you see somebody and they're just like eating breakfast or something, and you just like take a awkward photo of them and just tag them on Twitter, one, you're going to get blown up because that's not the right way to go about it. But two, don't be afraid, to go up to somebody and say, hey, would you mind if I just got a picture? You're one of my favorite wrestlers or anything. As long as you do it in a respectful way, don't be afraid. I think we went to All Out. My friend said, oh yeah, he saw Chris Jericho and he thought about taking a pic, but then the moment passed him by. And kind of this leads me into one thing, and I'll let DDJ get into his. With a meet and greet, there are opportunities that you should take, and there either might be like financial or maybe you're scared to take that opportunity, because you never know when an opportunity like this is ever going to happen again, or if maybe something might happen and you might have missed your one and only chance to talk to this person or interacted with them. Kind of case in point, talking about our virtual markouts, we were supposed to have a virtual markout with the Exalted One, Brody Lee, but unfortunately, due to his health issues and everything, that wasn't able to take place. I'm just still upset that we didn't have that opportunity to talk to him, and that's just something that now going into the future, if I ever have the opportunity to meet someone and I have the financial capability to, it's something I'm not going to pass up. Or if I see somebody in like a lobby of a hotel and it's not, in a disrespectful way, I'll go up to them and say, hey, would you mind if I got a photo or something? Some people might charge you, some people might not. It just really depends. But that's just kind of how I feel about that. DDJ, you had one more story you wanted to share?
Yeah, real quick before I get into that, though, as fans, like you mentioned, we need to be respectful of these people because, again, like I said before, they're humans just like you and I. They have their own personal lives, and I love meeting these wrestlers, especially just running into them randomly and stuff like that. But guys, if anything, when they're at the hotel and they're trying to check into their rooms after performing at a show or getting in from a long plane ride or car ride or something, let them be. And also, if you see them like picking up these people that stalk these wrestlers and wait for them at the airports and stuff, that in my opinion, that stuff's not cool.
Yes.
Like, these guys, yes, I understand these guys are, men and women are public figures and that, but to me, these people that make a living off, running into these guys and, meeting them at the airports, knowing they're going to be there and basically following their travel schedules and things. Like, dude, seriously, that's not cool because they're public figures, but they're also human and they need their space. They need to get to where they got to go. And we need to be, I think, and we as fans need to be way more respectful than that. I don't think it's cool, like when these fans like stalk these wrestlers at the airports and the hotels and stuff like that. Obviously, if they're willing to take the time to sign something, more power to them. But don't go on Twitter and don't go on Facebook. Don't go on social media and slamming them because you couldn't get an autograph from so-and-so to turn around and flip on eBay because you met them at the airport when they're trying to get their bags and get to their transportation so they can get to their room and, get to where they need to be get ready for these shows that they put their lives on the line to entertain us. Going into my story. So this last one I want to talk about is a very memorable meet and greet that I had at the first StarCast. It's with one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, the All-American Ron Simmons, who many of you know as Farouk from his days in the WWE as part of the 80s. So I was on my way to his meet and greet at the first StarCast, and I was trying to figure out where he was exactly going to be. And this kind of goes into, I think, Jovan talking about how disorganized the first StarCast was. And they definitely learned their lesson because StarCast 3 was way better, way more organized.
Phenomenal.
But I just run into someone else, another fan who was looking for the same meet and greet. And we're walking, towards where we thought he was going to be. And all of a sudden we see Ron Simmons, like, going in the opposite direction. And, long story short, I asked Ron, I was like, hey, we're trying to go to your meet and greet, can we just walk with you? And he invited us to walk with him. So, they're whisking him off to another room where his meet and greet got moved to. So they get him to the room, where he's supposed to be. Tens he was supposed to sign weren't there. I don't even believe he was supposed to have his, WCW championship with him. And and the table, they had nothing for him. So, they went and got a table, and a chair for him to sit on. They still didn't have the photos. They had to go run and get. So this whole time, they're trying to get all the stuff together so they can get his meet and greet going. Me, along with a few other people, we got to just sit and pick his brain. It was about 20 minutes. And then one of the things I asked him was, because one of my all-time favorite moments in professional wrestling was when he beat Vader for the WCW title back in August of 92. And I asked him what that was like. And because I don't know if you guys remember seeing that on TV, just the way the crowd went. There was that one, African-American guy that literally looked like he was about ready to jump over the rail because he was so excited. And I don't blame him. I mean, that was an amazing moment. I mean, the first African-American, world heavyweight champion. And I asked Ron what that was like. And he just said, man, that was just so real. And it was just so emotional. And it was just hearing him talk about that night was just so awesome. And just talking about just how the product back then was compared to the product today. And it's just, God, he was such a cool dude. When they finally got everything set up, I got it set up. I got a picture with him. He put the WCW title that he used, that he wore to the ring. I have that on my shoulder. And he was such a cool guy, and just being able to have that experience with someone that I looked up to, someone who was responsible for one of my favorite moments in professional wrestling. While it wasn't on the level of my experience with the Road Warriors and Jimmy Snuka, man, it was up there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jovanni, take it away. I know you had a few things you wanted to add.
Well, gentlemen, I'll go ahead and take it home with this and wrap up my section. And meet and greets, man, I think we've all shown what they do for the fandom. It only gives you the opportunity to strengthen your fandom. It gives you the opportunity to meet these people who you would never think that you can have open conversations with, but you can in the right setting, as Spencer was alluding to. And as DDJ said, I'm going to double down and say, guys, if you see these people out with their families, that's not the right time. Please understand that a lot of them are on the road over 300 days a year. So family time is important. I know this because one of my friends is a champion for a promotion. And the moment he has with his family is sacred to him. He doesn't want to be noticed. He doesn't, if he's by himself, you see him at a gym, he's doing whatever. Hey, what's going on? But the moment he's with his family, that's off limits. And you might get a high, but you're not going to get an autograph. You're not going to get a photo. because nowadays what we need to stop doing is putting these photos directly on the social media so everybody and their mother could be like, oh, John Cena's here. Let's all raid that area. If you have the opportunity and you run into these people, these entertainers, these performers in normal day-to-day activity, do not make it worse for the entertainer by throwing their location out there. Keep it to yourself. Enjoy your moment. Be in the moment. Don't be in the social media aspect of it. Post it later on if you have to. But let these guys breathe, because honestly, they do a lot. Let them breathe. Let them have their time to relax. If they're with the families, don't interrupt. And I'm going to take it home with this. We've all talked about the greatnesses that we've had in the past, pre-COVID. We've all talked about the greatnesses that we've had now, during COVID, with our virtual markouts with Pro Wrestling Junkies. I think the future is going to hold something that's going to be a hybrid mix. You're going to see people at actual events still. So you might have a future star cast where, yes, there's going to be wrestlers there, but it's probably going to be more geared towards the wrestlers who's going to be at the event. But you might have your legacy wrestlers. These are old timers who possibly can't get around as much. They may be there via some type of Skype, some type of virtual meet and greet. To give you a name of a few, I know Magnificent Don Morocco is not leaving Hawaii at all. But to get a meet and greet virtual with Don Morocco in a live forum setting where he's taking questions and giving answers will be amazing. He's done them before, so in the future, maybe seeing that incorporated to give talent like Don Morocco, talent that doesn't feel comfortable leaving their home just because they're at a certain age. I know Terry Funk has gotten to there where he's asked people to stop sending him things to sign because he just can't do it anymore.
Yep.
Maybe being able to have those guys via virtual will be something that we're looking towards as the future. So I think that, where we're going is going to reflect where we've been and what we've gone through now. But I think the future's bright for the meet and greets. I think we're going to be able to have a little bit more exposure to everybody that we probably wouldn't have had a chance to prior to having to go through what we've gone through now.
So real quick, you mentioned Don Morocco. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, go check out our PWJ's own Brad Marcus with his Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. He just recently had an episode on where he interviewed Don Morocco, and it was really good. So, guys, please go check that out on the Pro Wrestling Junkies YouTube page. Just look for Toilet Side Wrestling Talk, and yeah, it was a great interview. So I was thinking about that as soon as you mentioned Don Morocco.
There you go.
I basically, to kind of wrap it up and stuff. Yeah, I agree with Jovanni. If things aren't going to be the same when it comes to these meet and greets, but just life isn't going to be the same. I don't, expect life to get back to what it was pre-COVID. I mean, we're going to get close, but I don't think it'll ever be exactly the same. And that could be bad, but that can also be just as good as it can be bad. And stuff. So yeah, nothing will compare to actually being right there with someone, a wrestler at a meet and greet and stuff, but. This may be the thing, the Zoom calls or like the virtual meet and greets that a lot of these Comic Cons are putting on, that we see on Facebook and stuff like that. And it's cool and stuff. It'll never be the same and stuff, but let's just be thankful for whatever it is we wind up getting, because we don't know what it's going to be like. And we don't know how many more opportunities we're going to have to, do these things, especially in this day and age.
Yep, exactly. You guys summed it up great. The future of meet and greets definitely looks bright. Definitely, I think the hybrid of the two, the virtual and the in-person meet and greets, is the way it's going to go in the future. Maybe people will start taking our lead and maybe do like the free meet and greets. Probably not. They're still going to make them pay. But so yeah, that's going to wrap it up for our little weekly roundtable on meet and greets. Guys, in the comments, if you're listening or if you're watching on YouTube, let us know an experience you had or somebody you've met that you want to talk about, or a great experience you've had, or just anything like that. So let us know in the comments below. But guys, been talking a long time. I think it's time to head it home. If you've been watching the video, I've probably been yawning a few times, maybe Dennis too. So it's time to take this one home. Guys, you can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter at PW_Junkies. If you're on YouTube right here watching this, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Like DDJ said, we have some great content. We have Toilet Side Wrestling. We have Show and Tell. We have Getting to Know a Junkie, all with Brad Marcus. You have Let Me Out with myself and DDJ. Then you have all these podcasts. What do you say with DDJ? Such Good Shoot and The Junkyard, all available on video format on the YouTube page. So if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure you guys are a part of the Facebook group. Just search Pro Wrestling Junkies. The page, our marketplace, Pro Wrestling Junkies Marketplace. Then also go to prowrestlingtees.com/Pro Wrestling Junkies. Excuse me. Get yourself some Pro Wrestling Junkies merch. We got the logo. We got the Be a Babyface, Not a Heel. Such Good Shoot and a What You Say with DDJ shirt. More coming, but we need you guys to buy those shirts so we can get more slots open up, and then get that Junkyard shirt on there. We've seen the progress on it so far. It's going to be a top seller. I can go ahead and tell you right now.
Wait for see the finished product.
It's going to be a banger.
Hey, real quick, you guys talk about, we need to get a few more shirts so we can get some slots opened up. Have either of you two bought a What Do You Say with DDJ shirt yet?
All right, so we're gonna move on here. You can follow me at number 11ST on the Twitter. Dennis, I know that you've been plugging it all show, but where can they find you?
Guys, you can find me on Facebook at Dennis Day Jr. You can find me on Twitter at Dennis W. Day Jr. If you're a fan of my show, first off, thank you for listening. If you're a fan of the Junkyard, thank you for listening. But my show also has a Facebook page. Just type in What Do You Say with DDJ, and then you can follow the show on Twitter at What Do You Say DDJ. Yeah, that's everything. And like Spencer said, I've got a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Buy that. Buy one of the great Pro Wrestling Junkie shirts. Like I said, more to come. And yeah, so that's basically all I got.
All the cheap pops you could ever want.
So many cheap pops.
So many cheap pops, but you know what? I'm a man of the people. I got to give the people what they want.
And what the people want is to connect with me, Jovanni Too Hotty, offline, off the Junkyard. If you want to do that, you can follow me at the Twitter machine at Jovanni Too Hotty, or if you're ever so inclined to drop a line on the Facebook Pro Wrestling Junkies fan page, you can find me under Jovan Menacho, which is my given name. Guys, reach out to us. We love interacting with everybody. We have a core group of Junkyard fans that shoot out random things about random episodes. We love to hear you guys. If you're keeping an actual track of my list, let me know. So in case I forget anybody, I can at least rectify and invalidate the list. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Follow us all. Support us all. Pro Wrestling Junkies. We can't take over this world without you.
Spay, you know what? No episode of the Junkyard Beat would be complete without seeing if we can make an addition to the list. And this is just a completely random one that I thought of. I got one here for you, Jovanni.
All right.
Daga.
Ooh, this is a hard one. Because she's got a bit of an attitude, but man, she's got a great assets. Daga, my man. You just made the list.
Yes. Now we can call it an episode.
Had to get somebody on the list for DDJ satisfaction.
It's like I said, no episode of the Junkyard will now be complete without an addition to the list.
Right.
All right. So with that little last minute thing, I think it's time to wrap it up and take it home. So guys, strike the pose whenever Dennis can get it in. There he goes. Old man arms. Okay. So for myself, slow motion middle fingers there. All right. So for myself, number 11, DDJ and Jovanni Too Hotty. This has been another episode of The Junkyard. So they've struck the pose. Let's go for it. Guys, we'll see you next week. Good night. Goodbye. Junkies out. Bang.